Hi, I'm Emily from wavyhaircare.com and this is Wavy Hair Care, my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to talk about how I sleep on my hair to try to protect my natural curl pattern. When I was first starting the curly curl method or embracing my waves, I kind of discounted how I was sleeping on my hair because I never thought of how you sleep on your hair as being all that important. I had always just gone to bed with my hair down, slept on a normal pillow, never really thought twice about it. But it really does matter when you're working to embrace your hair texture, especially if you have wavy hair. Wavy hair often is kind of like more fragile in texture than like more tightly curly hair, and so you really can like smush it or just like change its shape if you don't sleep on your hair properly. And so over the last, I don't know how long I've been doing this now, 5 or 6 years, something like that, I've gone through some different methods and trialed some others, and I just thought I would talk about my experiences with these and what works best for me. Early on, I tried hair bonnets. It seemed like those were kind of talked about the most, and they're pretty affordable, and there's a whole bunch of different types and sizes and different things, and so I bought some from, I think, Walmart in my area, and then I tried a couple from Amazon. And the reason I never really stuck with bonnets was I really struggled to find one that just fit my exact head size, I guess. A lot of them have elastic, and so they, like around the edges, and so with those, they are somewhat adjustable to different head sizes, but I found that if the elastic wasn't quite right, then I would wake up and the bonnet would have just fallen off at some point in the middle of the night, which, you know, isn't very helpful if it doesn't stay on your head. And then other ones, the elastic was so tight that I would wake up with headaches because of like the pressure it was putting on my scalp. And I even tried some that had like ties so that you can, customize the tightness. And I found the same thing with those. If I tied them loosely enough to not give me a headache, they'd fall off. If I tied them tightly enough to stay on, then I'd get a headache. So bonnets just really weren't working for me. So then I moved on to pineappling, and I don't know where the word pineapple comes from, but it's basically taking a regular scrunchie and like loosely tying all of your hair on top of your head, so it kind of makes like a pineapple type shape with your hair, so that then you're not really laying on your hair, it's on top of your head instead. And I did that for a couple of years, and it definitely worked better for me than bonnets did, just because it would, my hair would stay in the pineapple, but it would stretch out my hair, and I especially noticed this when my hair was shorter. For a while, I had like barely shoulder length hair, and I noticed it would really stretch out my curl pattern a lot when my hair was shorter, and I think that was just because my hair was so short that it was really stretching my hair just to get it up on top of my head. And so for a while I even did like half of a pineapple, and that was a little better than doing a full pineapple when I had short hair. But it definitely was bending my hair some, and it just wasn't super ideal. And the other issue that I ran into with that is I have dense hair, and so kind of your most common scrunchie size, if I wrap it twice, it would be too loose and would fall off. If I wrapped it 3 times, then it would leave like an indentation in my hair. But I did find a workaround for that, which was buying a really large scrunchie. There's a jumbo scrunchie that you can get from Walmart. It's like $5 for one, but it's absolutely huge. And so if you have really thick hair or really long hair or both, I would recommend that particular scrunchie if you do like pineappling. But yeah, so I stuck with pineappling for quite a while, and I thought it was okay, just not perfect. But then when I went to have a diva cut with the second stylist that I saw, she was talking to me about how she sleeps, and she had recommended a buff. And buffs are kind of like a certain brand of neck gaiter. If you like remember during the pandemic, some people would wear, they kind of look like a scarf, but then you can pull it up over your face too. It's those types of things, but for this purpose, people wear them, like you kind of pull it down over your neck and then back up so that it can cover like all of your hair on back. And they're a really like smooth texture, so they're not going to introduce frizz and stuff. And my hairstylist said that she's tried different methods and that the buff worked best for her. So I bought one. I think they're like $12 or something on Amazon, not too bad, but I found that the top of my head would be really like flattened in the morning. So I think my head was just too big for a buff. I think they do just come in one size, so I think that's probably just dependent on your head size. I don't think I have a particularly large head, but I guess my head is probably bigger than my hairstylist because it was smushing my roots quite a bit. But so then where I've landed now is I wear a sleep cap. And so it's kind of a similar concept to a bonnet. It's a different texture on the outside, but the inside is satin lined, and it has a adjustable elastic, but the elastic doesn't come right up against your skin. It's kind of like hidden in the edge of the cap. And with this, for whatever reason, I'm able to adjust it to that perfect tightness to where it will stay on my head but doesn't give me a headache. And I think I paid like $15 for it on Amazon, but I just absolutely love mine. And it doesn't like bend my hair or smush my hair in any way. And so it's just really been a great solution for me. I'll grab that and show it to you guys real quick. So this is what the cap looks like. It looks like the brand name is Yanni Best from Amazon. It's like a matte fabric on the outside, and then it's a satin type material on the inside, but then there's this adjustable elastic piece, and so you could just pull this to whatever, or stretch it, whatever you need, but then it's like the elastic itself is hidden inside of the rim, so it's not scratching up against your forehead. And yeah, I just found this to be my best solution so far. My hair still does relax some overnight. I think that's just unavoidable with wavy hair. It's not going to look like day one hair after you slip on it, but I see the least amount of reduction in my curl pattern when sleeping with this so far. I also wanted to cover just a couple of other options. So some people sleep with just a silk or satin pillowcase and will just kind of like throw their hair up over their pillow so that they're not sleeping on it. And I have experimented with that. I just am not, I'm not somebody who stays in place enough at night. I'm too much of a wiggle worm to like be effective with that. I guess I just like woke up and my hair is not up above my pillow the way that I tried to leave it. But if you're not too much of a restless sleeper, that works well for some people. And then just while on the topic of sleeping on wavy hair, I think there's two really key points to know, especially if you're new. One is, in my experience, it's really critical that your hair is completely dry before you go to bed. A fairly common experience that I come across in my own comment section or in emails or on wavy and curly hair groups is something like, I style my hair at night and it looks fine, but then it's terrible in the morning. And like I start asking questions and trying to like problem solve with them, and then I hear that they're going to bed with wet hair and trying to let it air dry overnight, or that they partly diffuse their hair and go to bed with it still damp, hoping that it will dry overnight. And in my experience, if my hair is damp at all, then the style that I have tried to create isn't fully set yet. And so then if I sleep on it, it's going to, you know, take whatever shape it's in overnight, which isn't going to be an ideal shape to try to preserve. And so I like showering and styling my hair at night, but I just do so where I have enough time to diffuse until it's completely dry. If I don't have enough time to do that, then I just make myself style in the morning, because I just am not going to get good results if I try to go to bed on hair that isn't completely dry. And then the second point that I wanted to make is, if you do like doing your hair at night and you want to like maximize your hair's appearance for that next morning, you can sleep with it in the cast. I find that if I don't break the cast and sleep with it in the cast, then I'll have a little bit less frizz and my hair will be a little bit more tighter than it would be if I broke the cast before I went to bed. So sometimes I do that on purpose, and sometimes I will wake up and the cast won't be as strong as it was when I went to bed. Sometimes my hair will have parts where there's not a cast left, but I do think that sleeping in the cast preserves it a little bit better than scrunching out the cast and then sleeping and then trying to refresh in the morning. I am curious to hear what you guys do for sleep. Have you experienced these different sleep methods? What one works best for you and your hair type? Let me know what works for you in the comments.